But regardless, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the group deal with that, and whether everyone else knows what Rick and everybody did, because that's just messed up somewhat, I think. And I'm just going to use this opportunity to talk a little bit about Dale and Rick and the book's representation on disability. Yes, it's grim and it's horrific, and they don't shy away from this sort of things, and through its like swift pacing, they do talk about the struggles that each of the characters have, and through these time jumps and skips, they do process and talk about things. But they don't leave them behind, they don't make fun of them, there isn't any ableism in this, where they don't like leave them or treat them how some other antagonists, particularly The Walking Dead the Telltale did. You've got Carver, who kills that guy with the one arm, whose name I've completely forgotten. That he sees them as weak, as incompetent, as letting everybody down, like just cutting off like the wee bits of plant sort of thing. Like, no, this group doesn't do that, and the author doesn't focus on that element of it either. Now, that may come up with different antagonists here, but it's really nice to see that they're showing how these characters are becoming disabled and how they're coping and overcoming things, and how, with the right mindset and the group of people, that they're coping. And the people who have said disabilities, it's not so much focused on them like, oh, woe is me, I don't have legs anymore, I don't have arms anymore, which of course would be fucking horrific. And yes, it also makes sense, because in those sorts of times you can't really focus about that sort of thing, you just have to overcome and adapt. But it could have gone very easily in a direction, especially with some of its earlier writings, and the weird levels of sexism that still persist in this book. But I'm digressing. It's really cool the group's helping them overcome that and making prosthetics. They haven't worked out what to do with fucking Rick's arm yet, though. But Dell walking around on a fairly functioning peg leg sort of thing, a nice prosthetic that they've made. And I just think that's really cool, especially for like the early 2000s that this came out. I'm looking there because I've got the book there, and I can't be bothered to pick it up and look, but it's just really nice and comforting to see. And they could flesh those bits out and talk a bit more like Dale's frustrations, or Rick not getting used to things. It was kind of leading up to that point, because it's the hand that Rick buggered all his fingers up earlier on when he was like beating the shit out of Therese. Yeah, as a disabled person myself, who's like does a lot of advocate stuff for disability and autism and all the rest of the things I've done before on the channel, that's an oddly wholesome bit in this really grim world, that ableism doesn't really have a place here, and racism does either. I know that, again, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because the world is gritty and nasty and you still have fucking rapists and pedos that are going about doing their thing, but I like it that those elements are presented as clearly monstrous, and the people who are disabled and mutilated are not treated as monsters, that they are just people that just survive and cope with everything else that's in the world. I like it, and I hope that the rest of the book goes through that, and maybe if there's an antagonist that's a bit like that, that it's shown just to be a bit bitter and cynical, and that behaviour is challenged, I don't mind that comparison being there. I'm just glad that it's not the default mindset of the author with depicting disability, mutilation, and those other sort of physical handicaps. It's, as I keep saying, it's good shit.